Hello everyone, I am P. Vasavilata, working as Assistant Professor with Department of Business Management, RBVRR Women's College. Today we would be learning about financial management. Before learning about financial management, we would learn about what is finance first. Finance is the amount of money that is required by a company in order to meet its obligations. Finance is the money, is the capital, is the amount or funds which are required by a company to successfully run in the market. Now, coming to financial management talks about successfully managing the organizational money in an effective and efficient manner because finance is considered to be the lifeblood of an organization. Therefore, finance has to be managed properly in an organization because if it is mismanaged, it would lead to failure in an organization. Therefore, financial management means planning, organizing, controlling the funds of an organization in an effective and efficient manner so that it leads to the success of the organization. According to the renowned author Khan and Jain, financial management is considered to be an art and science of managing money. He calls it art because not everybody can manage money. Only people who have learned the art or who have the skills to manage the money can do it. It is considered as science because it is based upon certain principles. Therefore, he defines financial management as an art and science of managing money. According to Solomon and another author, he says that financial management is considered as managing an important economic resource in an organization, namely capital. This is considered as an important economic resource of an organization which has to be managed effectively and efficiently in an organization. Therefore, financial management is an important aspect of an organization. Coming to the objectives of financial management, there are basically two objectives of financial management. One is profit maximization and the other one is wealth maximization. Talking about profit maximization, according to profit maximization, in an organization, whenever an activity, a course of action, or an asset is purchased, all such things should lead to profit. The main idea behind profit maximization is the organization should undertake only those activities which lead to profit and should not undertake those activities which do not lead to profit. From financial management point of view, there are three important decisions which are taken in an organization, which we would learn later, which is financing decision, investment decision, and dividend decision. So, according to FM point of view, all these three decisions should lead to profit maximization. If any of the decision is not leading to profit maximization, the organization should not take such decision because profit is considered to be the test for economic efficiency of any organization. That is, you can test an organization's efficiency by looking into the profit. Therefore, it believes that profit maximization is the objective of financial management. But there are certain drawbacks of profit maximization. One of the biggest drawback of profit maximization is the term profit is ambiguous. That is, the term profit has not been clearly defined whether the organizations are talking about gross profit, net profit, profit before tax or profit after tax, profit short term or long term. All these things are not clearly defined. Therefore, it is considered to be ambiguous. And coming to profit maximization, the second drawback of profit maximization is Profit maximization does not take into consideration time value of money, which turns out to be the second drawback of profit maximization. Therefore, then came into picture the next objective of financial management, which talks about wealth maximization. Wealth maximization, which is also known as shareholders value maximization, shareholders net worth maximization, shareholders wealth maximization. Wealth maximization overcomes the two drawbacks of profit maximization, that is, it takes into consideration time value of money and it clearly defines what should be maximized. That's the reason it is considered as universally accepted optimum decision criteria. According to wealth maximization, an organization should undertake only those activities which increases the value and should not undertake those activities which decreases the value. From FM point of view, the three decisions which increase the value should be undertaken and the decisions which do not increase the value should not be undertaken. Now here comes the question, where how is the value calculated? Value is calculated by taking the cash inflows and cash outflows into consideration. If cash inflows are greater than cash outflows, it creates value. And if cash outflows are greater than cash inflows, it does not create any kind of value. Therefore, wealth maximization takes into consideration value and determines that organization should undertake only those activities which increases the value. Apart from these two objectives, there is one more objective which has been discussed, that is welfare maximization. According to this objective, it takes the welfare or benefit of society at large into consideration. According to welfare maximization, organizations should produce only those products or render only those services which do not cause any kind of harm to the people, life, and property of society at large. In order to explain it in simple terms, every organization should produce only those products or render only those services which are not hazardous to the life and property of people living in the society at large. That is, every organization should have some kind of responsibility towards the society and work towards maximizing that welfare of the people living in the society at large. Therefore, few authors define objectives of financial management as only two, that is profit maximization and wealth maximization, whereas there are some authors who define objectives of financial management as three, that is profit maximization, wealth maximization, and welfare maximization. Next comes approaches to financial management. As I already told you, financial management, defined by Khan and Jain, is an art and science of managing money. So there are two different approaches to financial management. One is the traditional approach and the other one is the modern approach. According to traditional approach, that is traditionally, financial management only concentrated on procurement of funds. That is, once financial management started gaining importance in the initial stages, it gave importance only to procurement of funds. Now procurement means collection or accumulation of funds, because in traditional days, gathering of money was the biggest challenge to the organizations. So, the financial managers only concentrated on procurement or accumulation of funds because it was very, very important for an organization to collect money. But the main objective of financial management is not to procure funds, is not only to procure funds, but also their effective utilization, which was ignored in traditional approach. In order to simply define traditional approach only considers procurement of funds but ignores the main concept, that is effective utilization of funds. Coming to modern approach of financial management takes into consideration not only procurement of funds, that is not only accumulation of funds, but also takes into consideration effective utilization of funds. That is, they not only concentrate on how to collect funds or how to gather the funds, but they also uh, concentrate on how best the funds can be utilized in an organization. This modern approach defines the scope of financial management and divides it into three important decisions of an organization, that is financing decision, dividend decision, and investment decision. These three decisions are very important for a financial manager, and the entire financial management revolves around these three decisions of an organization. The financial manager's prime responsibility or prime role is to take these three crucial decisions in an organization, which are considered to be very important in managing the money of an organization. Coming to the first decision, which is called as financing decision. This is the most crucial decision that is taken by a financial manager in an organization. This decision is also known as financing mix decision or capital leverage decision also. Now, here the financial manager decides what is the financing mix of an organization. To explain it clearly, as we all know, every company requires money for its establishment and successful operations. Therefore, every organization requires capital. Now, capital is the money that is required by the company for its successful operation, and not all owners have the entire capital required for successfully running the organization. Therefore, the money that is required by the company is gathered from two different sources or is procured from two different sources. One is owner's contribution, that is money contributed by the owner, which is called as equity, and the remaining money which is required is borrowed from outsider, through which is called as debt. So every company has a combination of debt and equity, that is money contributed by the owner and the money contributed by the outsider. This debt equity proportion or debt equity mix is called as the financing mix of an organization, which tells us about what is the percentage of capital that a owner has contributed and what is the percentage of capital that an outsider has contributed. Therefore, it is an important decision of financial manager to decide that capital mix or financing mix or the debt equity proportion of an organization. Financial decision is considered with the borrowing and allocation of funds for the requirements of investment decision. Therefore, it is considered as crucial or important in an organization. Now, financing decision takes into consideration capital structure theories and capital structure decisions. Next decision, which is very important after the financing decision, is dividend decision. Now, the money that is required by an organization is decided in financing decision, whether that money is contributed by the owner or whether that money is borrowed from an outsider. Once the money is accumulated or once the money is procured, the next important thing that comes into picture is where to allocate this funds or where to utilize these funds. In order to use these funds, you have to invest them in assets. Therefore, investment decision is mainly concerned with allocation of funds in various investment avenues or various investment opportunities so that the company gets the maximum profitability or maximum return out of those investment. Investment decision basically deals with choice of making a selection in the assets or choice of taking up right decisions in choosing the assets which gives the organization maximum profitability. Now when it comes to selection of right type of assets in order to allocate the funds, it is very important to know what are the types of assets in which the company invests. Company can invest its funds in either long term assets or short term assets. Long term assets are those assets which give you benefit over a long period of time, which is usually more than 1 year. And short term assets are the assets which give you benefit within 1 year period of time. So, a company has to make a choice while it is investing in long term assets as well as while it is investing in short term assets. Now, when company is taking decision pertaining to investment in long term assets, such decisions are called as capital budgeting decisions. The money or the cash outlay that is involved in capital budgeting decisions is usually high. Therefore, the risk involved is also high and the benefit will be received in the future. Therefore, whenever a company is taking decision pertaining to capital budgeting or long-term assets, it has to analyze the proposals carefully and make the decision. Now, the decision pertaining to investment in short-term assets is called as working capital management decisions. That is, whenever a company has to make a choice in investing in short-term assets, it is called as working capital management decisions. Working capital management decisions are further divided into cash management, receivables management, inventory management, or you can call it as overall working capital management. Now, once the funds are invested or once the organization is taking decision pertaining to investment of funds, it is very important to check on the profitability. Profitability matters because the prime objective of any organization is to earn profit. Therefore, any any avenue or any investment opportunity which is giving you maximum profitability, financial managers should invest their money only in that kind of avenues. After investment decision, the next decision that comes into picture is dividend decision. Once the money that is required by an organization is accumulated through financing decision, that money is invested in different investment avenues which earn highest possible return through investment decisions. Once the money is invested, those avenues start paying off in the form of return or in the form of profits. So that profits solely do not belong to owners because outsiders have also contributed towards the capital of the company. Therefore, the net profits, a portion of net profits or a part of net profits have to be distributed among the shareholders also. So that part of profit which is distributed among the shareholders is called as the dividend decision of an organization. Now, here the financial manager has to take decision regarding what should be done with the net profits because the company might be in need of additional capital also. So instead of borrowing it from an outsider again, the company has an option of retaining the net profits instead of paying them to the shareholders and pay them at a future date at a higher rate of return. Therefore, dividend decision is all about distribution of net profits among the shareholders or whether retaining them in the business. Here, the financial manager has to take decision pertaining to whether the profits have to be distributed among the shareholders or whether the profits can be retained in the business itself for its future capital requirements. Or there is another option where the financial manager can decide whether they can go for partial distribution and partial retention. Because the financial manager has a choice to select among these three options, it is called as dividend decision. Most of the times, the distribution of the dividends or the retention of dividends depends upon the preference of the shareholders. So all these three decisions, financing decision, investment decision and dividend decision, are interrelated because unless and until the company procures the funds through financing decision, they cannot invest the funds in investment avenues. That is, investment decision is only possible when funds are accumulated through financing decision. Only if the company makes investment in uh, probably different investment avenues which give them maximum profitability, then only the company will earn profits which have to be distributed among the shareholders. So the dividend decision of a company is interrelated to the investment decision of a company. And in dividend decisions, because there is an option of retaining the profits, the company, it acts as a source of financing for a company. So based on the dividend decision, the financial manager has to decide whether he has to go for more borrowing of funds or not. So all these three decisions are interrelated, or all these three decisions are interconnected and inseparable. Therefore, it is said that financial manager has a crucial role to play in deciding these three decisions, and these three decisions uh, are very important in financial management. Next comes, what is the role of a financial manager? As we have already discussed, financial manager or financial management is basically considered with the procurement and effective utilization of the resources. The role of financial manager is very, very important in an organization. Financial manager has to ensure that there is a regular and adequate supply of funds as and when required by an organization. That is, whenever the company is in need of money, the financial managers must make sure that that enough of money or proper money, required money, is supplied as and when needed. He has to ensure that there is a proper supply of money whenever needed. The next important role of a financial manager is to see to it that he, I mean, shareholders must be ensured that they will be remunerated with adequate returns, because they have invested their money in the organizations. Financial managers have to make sure that shareholders are ensured that efficient returns will be paid based upon the earning capacity and market price of the shares of the company. The major important role of financial manager is to make sure that companies funds are utilized in the most efficient and effective manner, which is called as optimum utilization of funds. That is, once the funds required by the company are procured or collected, it is the duty of the financial manager to make sure that these funds are utilized in a proper manner by getting the maximum possible return with the least cost. Another responsibility or another role of a financial manager is to make sure that there is a safety on investment, because money is very important in an organization. Financial manager must make sure that he invest funds only on safe ventures or safe avenues which give them adequate rate of return. He 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 cannot invest funds in high risky proposals, because it is not only the money of the owners, but it is also the money which is borrowed from an outsider. And one of the important role and responsibility of a financial manager is to plan for a sound capital structure of a company. That is, the financial manager must make sure that there is a proper combination of debt and equity in the company. That is, the financial manager must make sure that the company does not have a lot of equity or a lot of debt. There should be a proper balance between equity and debt, so that the composition turns out to be sound and fair. What are the functions of a financial manager? It comes in an order. First and foremost function of a financial manager is to estimate the capital requirements of a company. That is, a financial manager must first determine in advance what would be the monetary requirement or what would be the money requirement in an organization. Based upon the requirement of the capital, the financial manager should determine what would be the capital composition. That is, what is the money that is contributed by the owner and what is the money that is contributed by an outsider. And he has to make sure that there is a proper balance of debt and equity in an organization. Once the composition is determined, as I told you, he has to make a choice of sources of funds, whether he would borrow more funds in the form of debt or whether owner contributes more money in the form of equity. He has to make a choice whether he would use an internal source of financing or whether he would go for an external source of financing. Once the funds are accumulated through various sources, he has to take decision pertaining to investment of funds. He has to decide whether the funds have to be invested into a short-term assets or whether the funds can be invested in a long-term asset, because the company requires both short-term and long-term assets. And he has to take decisions in such a way that the funds should be invested in safe avenues in such a way that they get the maximum return possible. After making investments, if there are any additional funds, then the financial manager should dispose of those surplus funds by investing them in short term assets. Because money will not fetch you any kind of return if it is left idle. Any excess or surplus funds that a financial manager has after making investments, then he has to invest them in short term assets so that they can be utilized as and when required. After the management of surplus cash, the financial manager has to make sure that the money is available as and when needed, and should make sure that there is a proper balance of money in an organization whenever required. And the last and foremost function of a financial manager is financial control. He has to make sure that the funds of an organization are utilized in a proper, efficient, and effective manner. Because if money is wasted, everything is wasted in an organization. Therefore, I conclude stating that financial management is an important aspect of an organization, which is very, very crucial in an organization, because you cannot imagine an organization without money. And this money has to be utilized properly in an organization by taking the three important and crucial decisions of an organization in an effective and efficient manner. Here, the role of financial manager or the functions of financial manager are very, very important in taking these three decisions. Therefore, financial managers must take these decisions with utmost care and efficiency. Thank you.